Shannon, I'm curious where you fall on this one. Do you like what Kyrie said, or do you have a problem with it?
I got a problem with it because I don't like the fact that Kyrie thinks he's a martyr. Here's the thing, Skip. Does Kyrie realize there are very people in a similar situation, but he gets an exemption because he's an athlete or an entertainer? So sit it down. Say, until everybody's allowed to do what he or she wants to do, I'm not doing anything. That's what a martyr does. They die for the cause.
And they don't get paid while they're doing it.
Right.
Right?
That's what happens.
Did he get paid?
Right. Yes, he got paid. Skip, I'm old enough to remember. I don't remember smallpox, but you know, Skip, when smallpox and polio, they made you get the vaccine.
Made you.
It wasn't no, well, this is my religious beliefs.
No.
Smallpox, measles, chicken pox.
The day you were born, I guarantee you got vaccinated.
Yes!
I guarantee
Yes!
it was the law.
There was a virus going on the last 2 years, and it probably hit around like the beginning of 2020. And it lasted for about 2 years, Skip. And it was taking people's lives. It was costing people jobs. It was costing businesses their business. Skip, this wasn't somebody that we just need you to get a shot just because. I don't know if he looked around and saw the ramifications of what this virus was doing. That's what this was about, Kyrie. This was nobody trying to infringe on your freedom. Well, I was being a hostage too. I had to wear a mask. I couldn't go where I wanted to go. I couldn't do what I wanted to do. A part of getting out of this sooner was to get the vaccine. So not only could I protect me, but I was going to protect those around me. Because the bigger picture is that what one must be willing to see. But when one only can see something for themselves, which I think Kyrie did, he'll never see the big picture. He thought someone was trying to infringe on his freedoms. When actuality, there were so many other people in the very predicament that we weren't free, Kyrie. We couldn't go sit in restaurants anymore. A lot of restaurants closed their doors, never to reopen again. A lot of people lost their jobs and still searching for jobs. A lot of people lost loved ones, lost their lives. If you don't think it's real, he should have a conversation with Karl Anthony Towns. They're both from Jersey.
Yeah, that's a good point. Lost parents.
Kyrie just doesn't get it. But hey, I'm happy. I'm happy that the mayor made an exception. Athletes and entertainers, they get an opportunity to do something that they love to do. But he could have been playing. Everybody else, I'm sure KD loves freedom. I'm sure KD wants what's best for everybody. But KD says, I think this is what's best for everybody. Kyrie made a decision to do what was best for him.
Precisely. Now, let me go bigger picture. I took LeBron to task a week ago when he said after yet another Lakers loss, I'm having the time of my life. Similarly, I take Kyrie to task. They stunk it up at home in his first home game. They stunk. And I've been doing this for a long time, and I think if you'll watch, if you'll let your eyes tell you what they're trying to tell you, you can watch the body language of a football team or a basketball team or whatever team. You can see what they're saying to you. The Nets were not comfortable yesterday. There was something they did not love about having him back. That doesn't mean they don't love Kyrie, but it still sticks in all their craws that they are now 39 and 36 because of the decision he made not to play these home games, not to get vaccinated. It reminds me of, if I can hark back to that Super Bowl after the 2002 season, because I was covering John Gruden's Oakland Raiders at that point. Remember what happened right before the night before the Super Bowl against Tampa Bay? Barrett Robbins went literally south to Tijuana, bipolar, just lost it, flipped out, and they lost him for the game on the night before the game. He was a Pro Bowl center. He was the quarterback of the line. He called all the signals, all the protections, he was the anchor and the rock of that line. Really good player, really good guy, except he had bipolar and went south. You could just see the Raiders were shook at kickoff. You could just step back. Obviously, Gruden knew all the plays, and he had them well coached up, and he was like the perfect guy for the perfect spot to beat that team. But you remember what happened. It was devastation. It was a complete and utter blowout, and I think it started with Barrett Robbins going south.
Stanley Wilson did the same thing, skipping 88.
There you go.
He went on the bench.
And Eugene Robinson before your Atlanta Super Bowl.
Yep, 98.
These things can affect a team's psyche.
Yes.
Well, I'm just talking about the big picture, the Nets psyche. They're barely hanging on to the 9th spot. They're a game and a half ahead of the Hawks for the 10th spot. And we all know the 10th spot is the last
and final spot
in the play-in. Okay, there's nothing to be proud of here. Yet Kyrie took this occasion to remount his soapbox once again, and he basically gave an I prevailed speech.
Right.
Look at me, I did it. I won.
Right.
You just lost to Charlotte at home in your first home game to fall to 39-36. You're barely over 500, and you stunk, and KD stunk, and your whole team stunk yesterday. And yet you're talking about freedom. I did it. And he's talking out of both sides of his mouth, and he says, the point of the season was never for me to take a stand. But then he says, it was really to make sure that I'm standing on what I believe. Well, I think that's taking a stand.
That's taking a stand.
That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, see?
For freedom. He wanted to say, nobody can tell me what to do, especially the government of the United States of America cannot tell me what to do.
Right.
I will not get vaccinated. Because they all got vaccinated except for him.
Right.
And I know you well enough, if you had been his teammate and let's say the leader of this team, you would have been quietly furious over this and it would have hurt you. It would have just, you would have tried
Don't tell me we're a team. Don't tell me we brothers and we in this when 11, 12, 13 guys are doing one thing and the one guy that says, yeah, we're a brotherhood, I love you guys, he's doing something totally opposite.
Huh?
Nah,
really?
it doesn't work like that.
If you had been the leader, I don't think you would have gone public with that. I don't think you would have.
No.
Maybe, but I don't think so because that would have probably made it even worse.
Right. You know, I'm going to show support publicly for my brother. But privately, I'm like, Kai, bro, what are you doing?
Yeah, because I believe KD said, Kai, brother, what are you doing?
I do believe that as well.
I believe he said it to him privately, and I think to this moment, he's just shaking his head over it. Look what we could have been.
Right.
Obviously, they don't have Ben Simmons, and they went through the whole Harden trade and the issue with him.
Right.
He basically quit on them, quit his way to Philadelphia.
Right.
But for Kyrie to be so delusional that you're actually trumpeting the fact that you prevailed, you stood tall, for all the wrong reasons in the basketball context.
Right.
We get this, but I said from the start, if you really want to take a stand here, you say, don't pay me. I forget what he makes, $40 million, whatever it is. It's a ton of money.
Right.
Just don't pay me a penny, and I'm going home. And I'm going to stay home until this blows over.
Until no one has to get the mandate.
Yes.
I mean, Dr. King, when he did what he did, he's like, nah, I ain't going home until everybody get to ride the bus and they can sit where they want to.
Bingo.
I'm not going home until in Greensboro, the lunch counter. No. Everybody gonna be able to come in here and sit down and get a meal at the counter.
So I believe he derailed this team. And I don't love their chances, even with Kyrie now being able to play, and they have a very favorable closing schedule. So they're going to be in the playoffs. But how long are they going to be in the playoffs? Probably not very long because of this issue and obviously the Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know this, Skip, but I'm sure you have. Boston's legit. They're not just beating people by 2 or 3. They're beating people by 23.
No, but every game they say capital Legit, all caps.
Yes.
Legit.
But, you know, I'll be remiss if I didn't mention somebody else, the best player on the planet. You saw that again, right?
Stunk.
That's about, hold on, no, hold on. That's about 16 or 17 games that he's had an opportunity to close. 1 for 8. 9 for 24 for the game. Now, I know a guy, had he done the very thing, is he running out of gas? What's going on here, Skip?
I don't know.
You do know. That's the best player on the planet. You vouch for him. You stake your reputation.
I know a guy who plays for the Lakers who is called the GOAT, the greatest player of all time, and he has failed to close at least 12 games this year. And if you give the Lakers plus 12, then maybe they're a 500 team and they're up in the 6th spot.
Well, if I give plus 17, because I believe there's like 16 or 17 games he could have closed, they'd be the number 1 seed.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it really matters.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.